right, friends. I am calling this meeting to order. Welcome everyone to the August 3rd General Board meeting of the Concord School Board. The time is 6:01. Ms. Boucher, will you please call the roll?
Ms. Campbell.
Here.
Mr. Dubois.
Here.
Ms. Hastings.
Here.
Ms. Higgins.
Here.
Ms. Meeker.
Here.
Ms. Minot.
Here.
Ms. Sadowski.
Here.
Ms. Walsh is absent, and I am here. We have a quorum.
Great, thank you very much. First thing to do is approve the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Moved by Ms. Boucher, seconded by Ms. Hastings. Are there any amendments or discussion around the agenda? Great, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries, agenda is approved. Hello, Mr. Largy. Moving on to the consent agenda, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Boucher,
Second?
seconded by Ms. Minot. The consent agenda consists of the instructional committee from May 13, the finance committee from June 22nd, the regular monthly meeting from July 6th, the public hearing from July 13th. We did not include city and community this month. I believe we're submitting it later. Executive committee from July 20th, special board of education meeting from July 20th, and the communication and policy minutes from July 22nd. Are there any amendments or corrections to the minutes related to the consent agenda?
I have some corrections.
What are
Just
your corrections?
Minor corrections. The instructional committee meeting minutes on page 12, it's submitted by, I think it's Brenda Hastings instead of Brenda Higgins.
Oh, we know. Brenda, Barbara,
Those-
Hastings, Higgins, BH.
I didn't even catch that. And I
Those
looked at it to make sure.
those
I mean,
names
together,
have been
that could've
corrected.
been-
Right.
yeah.
Yes.
Right,
Those
so
have
to
been-
Tim's
yep.
point, these corrections, actually a couple of the corrections came in prior to the meeting, and Bridget, because she's amazing, already made the corrections for the packet, but keep going, because they were not the original draft, so what else did you
The
correct?
finance committee meeting minutes did not include the time that the committee came out of their non-public. or
That's been updated.
Time of adjournment.
It's in the attachment.
Great.
Yes,
Okay.
so
Yep.
these were all already, and then the last
Executive,
thing was executive,
and a name correction there as well.
yes, submitted by Liz instead of Lee, which would have been my mistake.
We're renaming you Lee. Okay. It sounds like all those corrections have been noted and are indicated in your packet or otherwise. Are there any other corrections or amendments to the consent agenda? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries, consent agenda passes. On to recognitions and reports. Superintendent, take
All
it
right,
away.
got some exciting stuff. Mr. Largy's here with us tonight, so Steve, I'm going to put you on the spot real quick so I can get you out. I know you got a busy afternoon. Steve's going to provide us, skipping around just a little bit, to number 4 Memorial Field project update.
Well, I wish I had more to update us on. But they are working on the demolition of the bleachers. They still have not started, they've started demo on the football field. They put the fence around it. I believe some of the wood seats have been removed. The framing is still not going to be, or the substructure is not going to be removed until this Thursday, which really kind of puts us up against it for our fall season with sports and the possibility of having football there. So spoke with David earlier today. He's been talking to the contractors about getting them, and they're just late, as we expected they might be with work. We do have a plan B for football. If we need to pivot to having games in the National Guard field, we've reserved and booked that space. So that would be our plan B for football. I spoke with David about 2 weeks ago. We had a meeting about our upcoming joint committee meeting, which we're still actively trying to find a date for. He sent an email out just a couple hours ago looking for some dates. I think that second to last week of August, 24th or 26th, I believe. So we're looking to form that joint committee. We met as staff, as requested, kind of formed our opinion. We're of like mind on what the direction should be for Memorial Field. So happy to answer any questions about that. I think we both think that the Plan A, with the upgrades of those pieces of the field where they are, that that layout is the appropriate way to go. And I think it's just a matter of getting everybody on the joint council to agree to that, and then we can move forward with a concept. And I think that's what we need, is just sort of a unified vision going forward, and just know that David and I do share that vision, so.
Thank you.
Yeah, are there any questions? Ms. Minot?
Will you also be bringing to that joint committee a cost estimate for temporary repairs to the track to make it usable
Yeah,
until it can be redone?
Yeah, in part of our conversation today, I wanted to just be able to answer any of the questions. I figured that would come up. He did ask the contractor how much it would be to replace the track. They came back with a figure that is basically a beginning soup to nuts track, $450,000. So he pushed back on that, and is trying to get an estimate that would be just a superficial repair
Just a layer.
that would
Right.
comply with our, with track standings, with USATF to make it, usable and playable for the spring. So it should be a smaller figure than 450,000, but he's followed up and they haven't responded back.
So the 450,
Ms. Higgins.
just to explain, would digging it all up, really like a resurface, like you want this to last for 10 years.
Right.
What we want is a very, very good Band-Aid that will maintain the track for like the next year or two. So that's just adding a surface layer over. So that's, I'm
Yeah,
just
you'll
trying to
have to
explain
skim
that.
it down
Yes,
and then
exactly.
rubberize and then, so, it'll be more than cosmetic, but
Well, yes, it's not cosmetic, it's
Yeah.
filling the cracks and
Right.
making it even and safe and all that kind of stuff. We have a city and community relations meeting August 15th, so I sent an email inviting you and Dave to come if
Yeah.
possible, just to have where we can really have a discussion about it and answer questions for people.
Absolutely.
And have a plan, a more filled out plan for fall, which in 2 weeks' time you'll have a better idea, so.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great. Any other questions for Mr. Largy? Great, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Steve. I appreciate you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Steve.
All right. Next on recognitions and reports is legislative updates. There has been a record number of bills signed into law by the governor this year. Many of them, we are still waiting on guidance from the Department of Education, the Department of Revenue Administrations. At the end of the day, we have been working with legal counsel and the in-house team here at Concord School District and have put the laws into 4 buckets: a personnel, business, parent, guardian / school handbook kind of outcomes, as well as miscellaneous random things that are going to come up that, in certain situations will be something that will apply to us. In other situations, for the most part, given our unique setup as a district, it may not apply to us. So there's a lot of different things that we've been going through, reviewing the laws, timelines, dates that we're required to implement them, and who they impact. At the end of it, to try and not come here with the 45 some odd laws that we have to respond to between now and June of 2027. We've decided to take out an approach where we're going to reach out to Finance Committee. We'll bring some of the stuff applying to our budget and report requirements under finance to you. That has a total of 18. You're the big winner. Most
Congratulations.
policy has 8, so we'll be bringing, there's 8 of them that have implications at the policy level. 9 of them are in regards to personnel, so Michelle and myself and the team will be looking at those. And some of it we'll come back to the board asking potentially a lease policy, amendment of policies, because we believe that some of the new laws may put the district in some financial liability if we maintain our policies as are. And then lastly, with the parent and guardian piece, we will be touching base on that with our administrative teams at an admin retreat this week, Wednesday and Thursday. So they're getting the updates, what we'll need in our student handbooks, what needs to go out between now and the start of the year to students and families, and what we need to communicate to staff. So just my update to you is not necessarily go through these laws and how they're going to impact us, but was to let you know that we're taking a strategic strategic approach and rollout of educating our community around this so that we're prepared and we're not waterboarding anybody with all of this.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Questions?
Yeah, are there any questions about that? I would prefer you just read them to us at length.
I thought so. So what I've done is I prepared
Yeah.
a spreadsheet with the link, so give me a second, I'm gonna bring up, no.
I'm just joking.
Word by word.
All that to say, thank you for doing that work.
It's the
We
team
know
here.
There's a lot of us that are very interested in legislation, and we know how thick of content it is and also confusing at the same
Mm-hmm.
time. So thank you for taking the time to break it down into chewable parts.
I'm lucky the team here has been very proactive working with me on this and being very attentive to how it impacts us and thinking the systems we have in place and how it ripples through our district. So I'm fortunate for that.
Thank you.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah, please, Mr.
I think it would be helpful if you could share that spreadsheet with
Yeah,
us. I understand we're not
absolutely.
gonna go through them one
So-
by one, but it would be helpful for us to look through.
Absolutely. Yeah, and
Great.
in the spreadsheet's a link to the full version of the legislation.
text, yeah.
Okay.
Great,
um,
thank you. Thank you for clarifying that.
Next is back to school planning. So just highlighting some of our big opening events we're deep in the throes of planning them out. That's why, Barb, I said summer was over. But
July 28th. I hope you enjoyed your summer. It's not even my birthday.
so we've been working on our back to school event that we'd normally host at Keach Park, and there's been some changes to be. We've lost some of the funding that we would have had to run this event. So in order to keep the budget tight and be able to provide all the services we have to families, we are looking at relocating that to Broken Ground School, providing transportation from the communities to the school so that they're able to attend if needed. So we're working with transportation on that. And at the end of the day, we were able to maintain our vendors. We're able to cut the cost of it by utilizing the facilities at Broken Ground School. We checked with the custodial staff, buildings and ground staff, as well as Kyle, to make sure we were not putting them back. Having an event so close to the start of the school year by hosting it at their school, we wouldn't be hindering their work. But they have been very accommodating, and we're excited that we'll be able to still pull it off and offer the same things we have to families in the past. We also have other stuff that we have going on to start the school year. Opening day ceremony, I think I put something to that extent in one of the last two memos. So we will be planning at Concord High School in the gymnasium. So we are working with the Concord High School staff again to set that up, and that will be all, we'll have all teachers, ed assistants, all associations are reporting back to school on that 28th, correct, Bridget? Yeah, the 28th, everybody's back, so we're able to host that at Concord High School. Fortunately, as you heard from Mr. Largy earlier, Memorial Field venue is not available. So then, in addition to that, we have other things such as a new teacher orientation, getting people onboarded in our systems here, all these things that go into setting up for the opening day, as well as earlier today, Jack has disappeared, which he's really good at. But earlier today, Jack and myself were sitting down with transportation, going through bus routes. Drivers will be out it's going to be either the tail end of next week, we're hopeful, or the start of the following week, running the routes. Again, we're looking at sizes of each stop, neighborhoods, and making sure we're, one, utilizing buses, like people are riding the buses that we're sending out there, and two, that we're being mindful how far we're asking students to walk, varying from the age, whether they're elementary, middle, or high school, so we're being mindful of all that stuff. So that information's coming soon to families. Questions? Anything else?
Ms. Boucher?
Yeah, I just wanted you to reiterate the time of the back to school.
The back to school, which one? At
Back to school night. Back to
Keach
kids,
Park?
sorry.
Bridget?
5 to 7.
5 to 7 at Keach, it's not at Keach Park, Broken Ground. See, I'm so used to calling
Just for the
it.
community to
Yep.
hear that again.
5 to 7 at Broken Ground School, and there will be transportation for neighborhoods if needed.
How would someone find out about the transportation options?
We'll be putting that out.
Okay, great, thank you. Any other questions so far? All right, keep going.
All right, let me go through this. Then my next thing on is additional teacher needs at Beaver Meadow. You've seen the breakdown of students and enrollment numbers and courses and not courses, but grade levels, as well as the different schools in the packet. What I will say is right now, this number is going to go up and down through the bulk of August. some of the numbers that are pretty locked in, and we can say that they may go up a few here or there, but are not set in stone yet, are your kindergarten numbers. We have some predicting indicators because of our preschool coming forward to kindergarten, and then enrollments. Historically speaking, Millbrook School, we have to do more outreach. It's one of our largest schools when you compare the numbers in those 3 grades, it's one of our larger schools. So we do have, a little bit of a caveat there. We tend to get more late entries for the kindergarten level there than we do in the other schools. But tonight, I am proposing, and I'll explain a little bit more in detail why when we get to the enrollment numbers, but I am proposing to use our contingency funds to hire a kindergarten teacher. The numbers in the kindergarten class, because we have 2, would be up to 27. When we looked at moving a teacher from 5th and 4th grade, we looked at turning the classroom demographics into over 50% students with IEPs and receiving specialized services. It would not be good for the students. So we went the route of waiting until as long as we could, and we're at that point where we're pretty confident that the numbers, if anything, they're going to go up 1 or 2 more in the next couple of weeks. So we're moving forward with at least a 3rd teacher at the kindergarten level for Beaver Meadow. We'll continue to monitor the other numbers through the remainder of this week. They are going to fluctuate quite a bit. As we lock in towards the end of the week, we'll have a good idea if we need to hire anywhere else. I know there's been some other questions. Principals are making moves even today. As I was talking to one member, the principal called me. I missed a call, and later on found out that they made a move they wanted to inform me of. So it's happening that much in real time right now. So when we get to later in August, we'll have, I'd say in about a week to 2, we will have very accurate numbers. But at the end of this week, we can start making assumptions on where we may need to hire additional teachers if need be.
Great.
Cool.
And just so everybody is aware, there's because things are happening so fast, the most recent version is printed and with your packet, which we can go over when we talk enrollment numbers. Ms. Boucher?
And just to clarify, this enrollment report, the 3 teachers are already listed here.
Yeah,
That
we
reflects
listed the 3
30.
teachers.
Okay.
So you could compare, if we didn't, the numbers today, when talking with Mrs. Allen, we're at 27 and 27, 54 students across 2 kindergarten classes. And then, so at that point in time, it was very much, we had to make a move.
Yeah. And we knew it was going to be tight.
Yep.
We budgeted that. Go
Can
ahead,
I
Ms.
also
Boucher.
ask another question about
Yeah.
Christa McAuliffe School has 3, but they're at the upper end of at 20?
Mm-hmm.
Do we
So-
want to go ahead and jump to why don't we just go ahead and
we can
add,
just jump to
enrollment? Let's go through the numbers.
So
Because that way we get it
what we've done
No,
historically
please.
there, Liz, is because it is high, what we've done is we brought in an instructional tutor, and that we will, by the end of the week, make a decision whether or not that is the route to go. But in the past, we have brought instructional tutors in so that we're able to have multiple adults in the classroom outside of a assigned ed assistant and the classroom teacher. So last year, when the numbers were about that high, that's what we did.
Tim, can you speak toward special permissions that we have?
You will be, at the end of this week, we have already sent out letters to families about special permissions. Those are the people who ask for a variance from the school in their catchment to attend another school. We consider them, but this priority goes to the students who are in that catchment area. So we have unfortunately had to send out a lot of letters denying this to families, and we still have some more that we've sent the letter saying right now we're not able to offer you that spot anymore, even though their child's been in the school multiple years. They are going to have to go to the school of their catchment area. I would say the end of this week really will set close that on us. We will know for certain anybody else who needs to receive one of those letters, but we've been pretty proactive sending those out and saying there's a slight possibility. We'll know a little bit more in August, but right now you should plan on attending the school catchment. So we share that with you, and the reason Bridget's bringing that up is because, again, the numbers are high in these schools, and we're doing our best to move things around, and you're going to see that flux because of the people moving back to their other schools. So we're gotta wait kind of towards the end of this week. Going into next week, we'll see where those numbers fall, but we'll make a decision at that point in time. Yep.
Ms. Hastings?
So the teacher in me is cringing at some of these numbers,
Mm-hmm.
because we are at the high end of our guidelines, and several of them, I'm looking at Abbott Downing kindergarten and fifth grade. Beaver Meadow looks good now that we've taken care of and added that third one. Broken Ground, fourth grade's high, and if you take a fifth grade to put in fourth grade, then fifth grade's gonna be high. And Kristen McAuliffe, the 20, you can add an instructional aid in a classroom. It is not the same as having a smaller classroom. And those younger children are where we really need to target rich instruction, I think.
Don't
So,
don't
I know I'm
disagree
not-
with you.
I know I'm preaching to the choir.
But I will say this to the board: the contingency fund's not for 2 to 3 teachers. It doesn't cover that.
It doesn't
We will
cover that,
have
and
to-
I'm looking at
We will
help.
have to expand. Come October, we'd have to relook at our budget, or we'd have to look if there's an opening that occurred between now and the start of the school year, and do we need to fill it? So there's things we would have to do. So, but I say this as a cautionary thing, that these numbers are gonna go up in the next few days. And by the end of the week, those 2020 and 20 might be 14, and 16.
Yeah,
It's,
just remember, those special permissions that we've sent out, those have not been moved out of these numbers yet, so this is almost a hard thing to give you this month, because
Okay.
it is so, there's so many.
It's still fluid, and
It's
it's good
still-
for us to be aware of that.
Yeah.
But I think it's also good for families to
Yeah.
be notified that, who you moved up with in the spring
Yep.
might not be where your child is.
Oh,
But it's so
absolutely.
that we can give them a better teaching experience
Mhm.
if we feel that an additional teacher is warranted.
Ms. Boucher?
The question falls on the number of kids at Millbrook, and what was the choice to have that many kindergartners at 13 and 14 versus taking away one of those teachers and putting to the class size increases?
so what I would say is, in the past, you look at your numbers in first grade. Last year, those numbers were up 18, 19, right in that range, right? So right now, they're not done the registration I say they're not done. We know at least 10 students that were in our preschool have not registered yet for kindergarten. We have a predictive, based on our homeschool liaisons information, at least another, 9 to 11 students out there besides the 10 that were in our preschool who have yet not registered. So when you break it down again, this week, it's gonna go up and down. In a week and a half, when we go back to those numbers, we're gonna be looking at numbers around 16, 17, 19, and asking ourselves, can we consolidate one to move? So these are conversations I'm having with the principals of each of these schools on a regular basis. We're trying to pump out as frequently as possible the most up-to-date information, so it's on their radar, because we want to get this information out to teachers who may be moving from one school or to another, or want to get this information out to families. As Brenda said, you want to know where your kid's going to, who they're going to have for a kindergarten teacher. You want to know who they're going to have for, first through fifth grade teacher before they arrive to school. It helps with that transition. We understand that. It's just August is
We're in flux.
that's difficult. Yeah.
Go ahead, Ms. Nadowski.
Yeah, given that we had over 100 kindergartners at Millbrook last year, it's probably just that folks haven't registered.
Ms. Higgins? Yeah.
This is the nature of August. It's like herding cats, or trying to keep sand in a sieve. There's no way to control, and each neighborhood is different. So you can look at one school with numbers and know that those are probably solid numbers. And Millbrook has always been the school where, for a variety of reasons, sometimes those kids show up the first day of school. We're here for kindergarten. And that's just the nature of the neighborhood and the diverse culture up there on the Heights and everything else. So these conversations are incredibly important for people to listen to, so they know that we're not, throwing money into teaching positions that people might think are extraneous. But the low numbers at Millbrook won't stay low, I can almost guarantee it. They just explode.
That's especially true given the fact that, if we've increased from 36 kindergartners at Beaver Meadow last year to 56 now, that's a huge
So let's
jump.
transfer that to Millbrook.
So
Right.
I'm a little nervous that we'll actually see a higher jump at Millbrook, and we'll be having those conversations.
What my conversation with Principal Scarpati today was, in her time there, there's only been 1 year, which she's going on 10 years now, that they have been under 100 students in their kindergarten. So she's like, here's 21 I know of. She's like, I'm not convinced that's going to be it.
Okay.
Right.
guess we'll
Well,
see.
thank you for staying on top of it. Appreciate you. I do want to just make note, you had mentioned something about discussing contingency. We will not vote on any of your use of your contingency
No.
funds. It's only if there are additional
Yeah.
FTE required.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be, yeah.
I just wanted to make everybody clear on that. Thank you for letting us know.
I do want to highlight that RMS has had a significant bubble in that grade 6 level. They're up 56 students to last year, so, yeah.
Another whole cluster.
Team,
And
another
it's
new
another
team.
big class coming next year.
Next year,
Exactly.
yeah.
As well.
This is good. It means we have students.
Yeah.
It means we have enrollment. That's wonderful news.
Kathleen told us that.
And Kathleen told us so, wonderful. All right, putting enrollment aside, unless there's any further questions regarding enrollment. All right, back to your list of things.
All right, last thing to cover here, strategic plan. And this is the update on the strategic plan. We went through some review in January at a retreat. At that time, some of the information still was coming in through our equity audit, so it wasn't complete. And then from there, I shared something out with you at the July 20th, which was the I wouldn't say comprehensive, but larger overview of the strategic plan and the changes that are being recommended. So here we go. So,
And, sorry to
Go ahead.
interrupt, it is also on page 32 of your board book. It's not listed in the agenda, but it's in there if you want to see it. Sorry, continue.
no, go ahead. So again, in 2022, the board, district, and many community members, as well as student, parent involvement, got together and created a strategic plan which gave us areas of focus, these 6 priority areas that we would take up and work towards. Goals were set in each of those priority areas and targets that we have been essentially mobilized as a district in our school, as well as our SAU, to focus whether it's professional development, community engagement, communication, et cetera, around these priority areas. What we have here is just showing kind of the timeline where we're at right now in 2026 is an update to the plan. At the end of tonight, it's not on there as a vote, but I would be looking for some direction from the board. Our final recommendation will be at the end of this presentation, but ultimately recommending to extend this strategic plan through 2027 with some updates in the priority areas of focus.
We're going to add that as 11E to the agenda for votes.
All right, so just going over at a glance in our priority focus areas, equity and diversity, what we've accomplished over the last few years is we completed the equity audit with Great Schools Partnership. We did review it at our equity committee this year. There's, again, there's still work to do. We expected that coming out of the audit. There was the audit left us feeling we had questions in other areas that we didn't feel were answered, and as a team or a committee, we're looking at how we could pursue some of that information. But other things that we can highlight that we've done really well with over the last 3 years of this plan being in action is our home to school liaisons and social workers in the schools, our reach out to families and ensuring that we're engaging them in the students' participation at school, as well as assisting and accessing resources in our community. Restorative practices training at the high school, middle school have been a big professional development focus the last few years of this plan. Then we go down to the communication piece. Our website has been redesigned to be more accessible. It translates into the various languages spoken in the homes of our district. It has audio playback pieces. We've gone from uploading PDF files that won't translate to putting it in the web-based form so it does. We've been slowly adopting what we're supposed to, and by 2027 are on track to become a complete compliance with our website. So we still have work ahead of us, but we'll continue to do that. Our Parent Square platform has been selected as the primary form of communication in the district for mass communication to families, students, as well as faculty and staff, instead of using multiple forms of communication, which we were prior to the strategic plan coming out. So people know to look for Parent Square updates and when we're coming up to major times of the year, like return to school. They are looking for the Parent Square communications. Questions in regards to those two priority areas? And this is really summarize what I handed out at the July 20th retreat, has more detail around the accomplishments in each priorities. Curriculum instruction and assessment, reviews were conducted. Math and ELA have aligned the curriculum standards and competencies from K through 12. It's led to the adoption of math programs as well as the adoption of an ELA K through 6 program in district. We are on track, Chris, correct me if I'm right, for science is our next area that we're reviewing.
That's correct.
Anything you want to add to that, Erin?
We'll be putting together a K-12 science committee. Not yet. No one really wants to respond to emails right now.
Nor should they.
Areas that, we feel like we really accomplished a lot. The pathways programs at the high school is in its 3rd year. It is, career connected learning for all students, not just if you're taking a CRTC course. It's making our curriculum meaningful to students in their post-secondary goals. Again, in Schoology, iReady, EduClimber, and K through 5 reports are platforms that we've implemented over time that allows us to track student achievement data. One, if they're taking like SAS, PSAT, SAT data, but 2, our curriculum-based assessments. How are they doing in our classes? How are they doing on certain competencies? How are they doing on certain standards within our curriculum? We're able to track that now with these platforms and really get some good data along the way versus waiting for 1 or 2 tests a year to give us kind of pre and post data, so to speak. Our facilities, Matt, if he was here right now, would want to go into the 10-year plan, but he is not here. So we do have a 10-year plan. We review it annually with the board. And we also review it quite frequently, I would say at least quarterly, as a SAU leadership team to make sure we're in line. We're looking at our budget, we're looking at the priority projects, and we're planning out for the next year's summer, projects and things that will be ongoing this year already. So it's something that's very much alive and well in our day-to-day practices. And then just to highlight again the federal grants we received and the electric buses that are on the road. Anything to add to electric buses? Or?
No, all 3 are running.
And
That's all I wanted to make sure.
That
Both
sounds
charges
very
are running.
vague, sir. You're like, they run.
Well, we did get a call. I was reached out by the monitor, David Brooks, so we're going to reach out to him and
Okay.
we'll be doing a story.
Great.
Yeah.
So our social emotional learning, we have a district community leadership team that engages our community partners from the mental health field, our community partners from various social programs in the greater Concord area, as well as our juvenile justice and our local mental health provider, Riverbend, etc. And the purpose of this team, and includes students as well, staff, teachers, and parents. But the purpose of this team is to look at aggregated data, not at individual student data, but aggregated data and look at themes that are occurring across our district. Dig in and talk about those themes. And then as we're talking about that, we're learning about channels of communications and resources available in any one of these district partnerships and how we can capitalize on whether it's connecting the family to the partner, or if it's the partner's availability to the school to assist us in servicing our students. So it's now going into, it's just completed its 2nd year of running, and according to the people who are participating in it, and I attended them as a principal. I did not attend them this year, but the outcomes are really helping with clarifying the communication channels and making sure that these community partners really do have a good understanding of what our needs are in our buildings. Then I'm going to skip down to safety, homeland security tools, and local, state, and partners continue to work with the schools on revamping our emergency operation procedures every year. We do tabletop exercises and trainings with our staff so that they're understanding of the what the procedures and protocols are expected when we're in an emergency situation, ranging anywhere from a clear hallways because we have a medical emergency during the day, to a lockdown because we have an unknown person on premises, to our standard fire drills when we have to evacuate a building to a safe location. So we have them look through these things with us annually. We update the EOPs and submit them to the state every year. So things that we also wanted to highlight is we have looked at and practiced, not necessarily always with students, but in many cases with students, reunification sites for each of our school locations. The most recent would be Kristen McAuliffe School coming up to Concord High School and occupying our mini gym that happened, was that? Last spring or
In the
fall?
spring.
Spring.
It was in the
Yeah,
spring.
it seems so long ago. But, and again, every time we do these drills, we're finding things that we need to fine tune and work on and improve. Lastly, we were able to purchase radios, updated digital radios that have far better reception in our buildings, to the point that I could leave here with my radio. I could get up to Millbrook School and I can talk to Concord High School. So we have 215 radios at all together. 75 are at CHS, 50 at RMS. We have 25 at each of the elementary schools, and then 5 at transportation. Questions?
Any questions about all of our accomplishments? Kudos. All right, let's get to the
All right,
priorities. Yeah.
so our original 6 priorities are listed here. We just kind of went through them. There's common themes that we get from the information gathered and data on our progress. One is we still have plenty of work to do to accomplish the goals of the strategic plan. We need to continue to look at the data we're using to measure our progress. And again, make sure as we continue to move forward that the updates into our plans are clear, and the process or what's expected for implementation are clear, and who's doing them and how frequently we're reporting out. Over here in the last column here, I want to point out these are things that are bubbling up as not necessarily in the strategic plan when we were working on it in 2022, but are areas that we would recommend we consider as part of our strategic plan moving forward, and maybe adding an additional priority area or tacking them on to a current priority area. So that's AI being one of them, financial, student and staff data security. District registrar has been something we've talked about, but again, as we get down we're moving further and further into some conversations like today about the students' enrollment in the various schools and the various grades. These are things that systems we could put in place that would make this information at this time still not 100%, but would help us get more accurate information out in a timely manner. So areas, just each of these priority areas, as you can see in this slide, these are areas that we highlighted that we still need to do work in. We have the equity audit. A lot of recommendations came out of that. We can make goals and objectives out of that go beyond that, our equity committee that we would have to report out, adopt, have schools and district office activating around these goals. In addition, it highlighted areas we wanted additional information on. So again, this is ongoing work that we need to do. So we have not accomplished all the goals and targets of the plan, but increased community partnership, family supports continue to be a need. Looking at transportation and access to transportation continues to be something that comes up. And centralized family access for the supports, higher ed, prepping for post-secondary outcomes and planning for that is still something that tends to be a high need. We still have, I don't want to say haven't dove into it, but we still have not addressed what do we do in lieu of the Director of Diversity and Equity and Inclusion. My understanding was that position, although changed, we were waiting to see how everything played out at the time, we were facing some legislation that potentially from the federal level that we would lose all funding if we were doing programs such as this. Decisions were made, given the departure of the individual at the time who was filling that, to hold off on that. We have not, to my knowledge, gone back to discuss that in deep discussion. So that still remains out there as something that we should keep in our strategic plan under the equity and diversity. The curriculum stuff, we continue to, this curriculum's gonna be ongoing. It's never gonna end. So, and it should be, because that's the nature of it. We should always be adopting to what we're, you know, the new demands and what we have to educate our students around. But as Chris shared earlier, they're continuing to go through the competencies and standards alignment. Science is next on the docket. CRTC and CHS are continuing their focus around pathways and career-connected learning and making it a meaningful experience for any student who comes into Concord High School. And that doesn't stop at Concord High School. You know, Jay and Jim have already started talking. The plans are to move some of that pathway and post-secondary thought process down into the middle school, so there's more to come on that in the coming years. So, social emotional learning and communication. We have a lot of work around our MTSS frameworks in our schools. We do have great teams. We have people who are very good at looking into data and determining what the needs of the students are, but we still have systems to build. We still have supports that we need to secure to make our MTSS systems more high functioning and getting the outcomes that we desire. So we still have work there. Our communication, we know that in this past budget round, we did cut a communication director position. That was listed as one of our accomplishments. It's not an accomplishment anymore. But with that being said, it requires us to think about systems for communication and ensure that we are training and disciplining ourselves as well as our systems throughout the district to strengthen the communication to families, strengthen the communication from school to families, district office to families, and making sure that we have some common expectations around our communication so it's accessible to everyone. So facilities and safety, it's going to tie in again to looking at our 10-year plan. Key things around that: HVAC, windows, doors, food, services, transportation facilities are key in the capital improvement plan. And then looking at sustainability and long-range plans. Safety, we continue to work with our community partners around this. We continue to participate in emergency operation plans work that's offered through the Department of Homeland Security. And we have to get better about our reunification planning across the district, period. That's just an area that we're gonna have to buckle down and put some more work into it. And this ties into our MTSS systems of support, but MTSS systems of support goes hand in hand with safety. If we're addressing student needs and we have what we need to adequately support them in the school, the largest population of individuals in our building will be safe. They will feel safe, they will be safe, they'll know what resources are available to them, be able to access before they become unsafe. So that goes hand in hand with safety, really looking at our behavior interventions, and it says behavior intervention team, but that ties right into the MTSS work. Again, over here, operations, which is kind of a new pillar, is looking at district registrar would help with the communication and transitions that we have, as well as translation of documents necessary for families. We need to consider AI and the impact it's having on the educational environment, both for students as well as staff. The reality is our students will interact with AI when they leave here, regardless. The way they interact will be dependent on how we taught them to interact in it. We'll conduct our biannual cybersecurity audit and review recommendations. That's Jack and the IT crew. And we'll strengthen protection of student personally identifiable information. So at the end, what we are looking, questions on all that. I know I just threw a lot at you.
So Anybody have any questions related to priorities?
Go ahead, Brenda.
Board members were really involved in the original adoption of the strategic plan. Were board members involved in the updating?
To be honest with you, the updating was handed to me in like October, so I do not know the answer to that.
Okay.
Do any of you recall being?
So I was actually going to comment on this as well, which I feel like we were working on a lot of really important things. We were in acknowledgement that the strategic plan had an end date, and so I think staff did a good job of creating a plan to extend it. But my comment would be that I think that we should approve this with the anticipation that next year we need to pull in community, we need to pull in families, we need to pull in staff, we need to pull in board members, to like really revisit, sort of mission, vision, values of the district. So
When we think about where we were last year at this time, we were in a crisis.
Yeah.
So the fact that everything that got done and was done so thoughtfully and well, I think is a great way to bring this to us as an extension. But I agree. We want to make sure we've included all the voices in this before we adopt anything.
Absolutely.
Great.
And what we'd be looking for is extending the current strategic plan with reflections of some of the updates and that we know that we have to continue to work on, that still align with the original sentiments of the strategic plan that came out in 2022. So we, to Brenda's point, absolutely understand. We do want, when we revise their strategic plan or adopt a new strategic plan, we do want to engage all stakeholders the way we did originally. It's an opportunity for us to celebrate and get the words out there about our accomplishment, but it's also an opportunity for us to get the stakeholders' input on these areas and these priorities. And maybe the priorities have changed in between now and when we rewrite this. But we would be looking to extend it, it says except January 2026 updates. These updates have been, again, were updated in March after we received the what do you call it, Great Schools Partnership piece. So it's newer than that. These updates, I would say, to March 2026. And then directed district leadership to create some measurable goals and objectives and implementation steps for things that we see as a immediate priority between now and 2027. And we can, as well as to Brenda's point, we can begin looking at creation of a committee to begin going back through the strategic plan and making adjustments for the long term.
great. Any questions on that? Any comments? I would just say, likely for tonight, I mean, we can make separate motions on these, but I feel like tonight it would just be sufficient to say that we're gonna adopt the amended strategic plan through 2027. That's the motion that I'll recommend, but people are welcome to bring motions related to this, whatever they think is good. And then I'll also note that we may wanna look at if we had added a budget line item for the strategic plan development in 2022, like if we associated a cost with listening sessions, materials development, like if we would need to, if we're planning for 2027, if we need to consider that in the budget cycle, which is coming sooner than I would like. All right, with all of that, do you have anything
Okay.
else for us?
I'm
Nice
gonna
slow
stop
month
for
for
now.
you, though.
I'm gonna stop
Glad
for
to
now,
see.
right?
Amazing, thank you. All right, moving on down the agenda. Just very quickly, communications and policy. Tonight, we have policy 432, duplicate policy 537 on reporting of child abuse and neglect. It's tonight, coming to you on second reading, so there will be a vote tonight to approve. We'll go ahead and put that under 11F for votes tonight. So unless there are questions now, we can wait for discussion until that time. Great. Instructional. Looks like this is your opportunity to explain the updated 306 counseling plans and standards.
The 306 standards were updated. They are in your board book and they are available online for counseling. What we had found to be missing was the individual school plans for administrating these, and that is now part of this plan. So we should be in full compliance at this point. We'll be voting on accepting those this evening as well.
Great.
Terrific work from the people involved in
Yes, very much so, very thorough. Are there any questions for the instructional committee on the implementation plan? Great. Facilities update.
All right,
Back
so
to you,
yes.
sir.
So on behalf of Matt Cashman, he wanted to, summarize summer projects. We had some sidewalks that needed to be installed at both CMS and BMS, and they have been installed to increase access to areas of the playground as well as other areas of the school. At Concord High School, there's been construction going on in the Commons B area for the alternative education program that's coming in. That is underway, well ahead of schedule, and looks great and under budget. So we're pretty excited about that. The welding classroom and the 15 stations that are part of our new welding program over at CRTC. If you haven't stopped by and asked Ann for a tour, it's pretty exciting stuff. The new teacher we have is very enthusiastic about the program, and we are already packed as far as student enrollment, so we're very excited about that. BMS exterior painting is occurring. We have a new electrical outlets going in BGS, as well as a new wall being installed. They had those accordion walls from when we had the Wallace schools, the open
In
concept.
1975, I remember.
Wait, aren't we going back to open concept in the middle school? Are we putting accordion doors
No,
back?
no, I don't think we.
Is it
are.
retro, retro cool?
Right.
Okay.
All right,
And they go all the way up the walls.
So we're installing walls where we should have had walls.
Yeah.
So and we continue to yeah. We have the preschool classroom at ADS. We moved the preschool classroom from Beaver Meadow School to ADS because a number of ADS students were going to Beaver Meadow for preschool because that's where we had the programs. It's now gotten to the point where the neighborhoods that go to ADS, there's such a large number of students that would qualify for a preschool program. We decided to expand 2 programs at ADS. So we have another classroom that's being constructed for preschool, the cubbies, and the preschool swings and the other amenities we have to add in order to make it conducive are going in. They've started, but they will be going in the next couple of weeks, should be finalized. So other stuff, just interior painting and other updates that go on during the summer are well underway. And from the middle school project, he said that the site infrastructure is in place, that including underground electrical conduits, water lines, and drainage. So exciting milestone there. The loom, I'm not going to get into how much the loom sank, guys, but the good news is it didn't sink much, and that means we won't need as many ram aggregate piers, but those are going to begin starting over the next month. It does go for a number of weeks, but that is to solidify the foundation of that building. And then geothermal wells will begin the end of August. The foundation work is targeted also for the end of August. So looking ahead, and that's where we're at.
I really wish Matt were here because I want to know if they work in the rain.
If they work,
If they're working in the rain, so.
They should.
I mean, it was dumping today.
The downpour might make it
Yeah.
difficult. But
I know. I was like, I know they need to stay on schedule, but what happens when it rains? But Ms. Boucher.
I just want to make a point that there was a tentative meeting of the Capital Facilities and Sustainability that was scheduled for Thursday, August 6th, but that has been canceled because we did not, from the previous meeting, there weren't all of the answers to the questions we had asked, and so it would be kind of a frivolous meeting to not have those answers, and we are going to push that off into September. I do want to apologize to anyone on the Sustainability Committee from the public who wasn't aware of that. We were still waiting to see if we could get those answers before that meeting, but it has been canceled.
Thank you for that. But also, I feel like these are questions that you've asked. Is there a delay in getting answers that we're having
So
an issue
the
with?
issue is we have the contractor that we use, their big push, because July 3rd was the last for the ITC, the investment tax credits, all their push has been to do that. We locked in December. Everybody that's been going on month by month has been losing that benefit, but that's been where their design is, so they haven't had time to step away to look at, should it be split between Abbott Downing, Krista McAuliffe? Should it all be on the high school? And we don't want to come with half-baked stuff, so that is really what's holding us up, because
Great.
we're just not a priority at the moment for changing the scope of work which was submitted to them.
That's
So,
fair. All right,
okay.
thank you for that update.
Yep.
All right, anything else on facilities or middle school project? Any questions or comments? Wonderful. Please thank Matt for us. Moving on to public comment. Is anyone signed up on the list for public comment? Wonderful. Come on up. We do have up to 30 minutes for public comment, so since we don't have a big crowd, I was gonna say, I was like, please try to keep your statement to 3 minutes or less, but it's pretty flexible, so. Go ahead and state your
Don
name.
Bergerman.
Yep, thank you so much.
I know you think me a nuisance and a bother. My previous supervisor would say that once I get a hold of something, I won't let it go until you want to slap me one. But I'm really here to help you avoid making a mistake regarding the new middle school traffic plan. Using noise in Cypress streets as bus lanes will never be the safe option you claim them to be. And we can pursue alternatives now when there are other options are still readily available, or we can wait until there's an accident or a close call, or bus drivers simply refuse to navigate such a dangerous situation. By the way, we have documented the rerouting of school buses off of Cypress Street many years ago because of safety concerns. So we know that that happened at one point. We've made reference to that. Sidewalks are not the answer, besides being very expensive with the need to move power lines and fire hydrants and causing significant damage to the neighborhood with loss of many mature trees and houses set close to the road. It doesn't remove the more egregious safety issues. Students walking would still have to cross 5 college streets, and then the bus lanes twice, I think. And the challenging intersection of noise with South Street would remain, with buses and other vehicles having to pull up into the crosswalk in order to see up and down the streets. Meanwhile, you continue to maintain that some variation on the traffic pattern that has been in place for decades without incident is now too unsafe to consider, even with proposed improvements. What will ultimately be the least safe option is waiting to consider viable alternatives until the build-out is complete. And all we'll be left with is one that is constrained and limited, jerry-rigged because you didn't want to engage with the community in a quest for a plan that prioritizes the safety of students on and off school property and the safety and livability of the neighborhood. We all want this project to succeed with the best possible outcome, and we could be partners in that success if you were willing to engage us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Would anyone else like to testify this evening? Ms. Higgins.
I don't want to testify, but I was, in our long-standing desire to make our community feel heard, there's actually a policy in our school board around public comment where if the 30 minutes isn't taken and there have been emails sent on a particular issue, that they can be shared during the public comment. Mm-hmm. So I'm not sure if there are emails that anyone sent that they wanted shared. It's not one of those meetings. But I feel like we should start implementing that. So when we have public comment and maybe we spend 15 minutes on it, if somebody sent an email that they wish to have given to Bridget and all, that those can be shared out, they can be read at meetings. So that was a bit of a surprise to me. But I feel that in the interest of making our constituents feel heard, that we should start doing that.
Great. Did anyone receive an email in the last month that is on their mind that they would like to put into public testimony? Seeing none, thank you sorry, go ahead, Ms. Sadowski.
No, I just will note that a lot of the testimony that came in through the public portal did come in after our last meeting.
Right. Yeah, we had
And
several
I
emails that
prepared,
came
I
in
might
that
read a couple
those
of
people would
those.
have loved to
Yeah,
have shared.
if folks had known, they may have opted into having them read into the record, as
Gotcha.
you suggest.
Well, maybe we can make an effort to make the policy more clear on what people's options are if they can't make a meeting.
Yeah.
So we can.
I mean,
see-
often we take the whole 30 minutes, but when we don't, and we have emails, then it behooves us to share the emails.
Absolutely. Great. Thank you for thinking of that. With nobody else wanting to testify, I will close the public comment portion of the hearing, and we will move on to personnel. Ms. Guerin.
Good evening. We are bringing forward 4 new teachers for confirmation. We have Josh Harding for the digital media production and technology position. Logan Moulton will be a .6 music/acting teacher. We'll have a new special education teacher, Esther Roble, at Runlet. And Carly Barton will be a new preschool teacher at Beaver Meadow.
Wonderful. Does anyone want to make a motion to approve the slate of new teacher confirmations?
So moved.
So moved by Ms. Higgins.
Seconded.
Seconded by Ms. Sadowski. Discussion. Does anybody want to give Josh Hardy a
Yay!
big round? I know he's in there somewhere. Oh, you left. Oh, he said he would be watching from home. Shout out to our Concord TV
Yeah, that's so
friends, and of course everyone else too. Any other discussion, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. On to coach nominations.
And we have 2 coach nominations coming forward for girls varsity hockey coach, Stacy Landry and Sarah Zarnowski for cross country.
Wonderful. Do I have a motion to approve fall coaches?
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Higgins. Second?
Seconded.
Seconded by Ms. Sadowski. Any discussion? You looking at the steps?
Yep, I am.
Okay.
They're okay?
You're okay?
Yep.
All right. Seeing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
I just want to make sure
Thank
that
you.
our
No, I
female
appreciate
coaches
you.
are compensated
I
the same way as the male coaches are.
Appreciate you so much. I was holding space.
It is,
For you.
it's in that Appendix K of the teacher's CBA. Am I correct on that? Is it?
It's not
Next
appendix K,
K,
but
it's,
the rate is in the collective bargaining agreement.
And we've done a much better job in more recent
Male and
years with
female
that.
sports
I don't
are
ever
in the same sport are paid.
I don't ever
equal.
remember making less than the male counterpart in my 20
We
years
had a
of
few,
coaching.
we had a few instances a
Yeah.
few years ago, but
Yeah.
it's nothing recent, so I'm
Right.
very happy about that.
Maybe sport to sport, but yeah.
It's more step to step.
Yeah.
Thankful for the diligence. Appreciate it so much. All right, moving on to all the votes we'll be making this evening. Before we start discussing the ballot questions, Jack, would you mind pulling up ballot question 1 and 2?
Yep.
So that everyone can see it on the screen. We did receive some information from legal since the public testimony portion of the process. And our attorney wanted to affirm that anyone can make a motion to amend the language of the ballot questions so long as it doesn't change the intent of the question. So a drastic example of that would be swapping out the Dewey School for Abbott Downing. That's no longer within the intent of the question. But if there's wordsmithing that needs to be had, we are able to do that even after the public testimony. So I just want to make sure everybody's aware of that. And then I believe tonight what we are facing are 2 separate votes. One is essentially, and please correct me if I'm wrong because I want to get this right, that we are essentially directing the district to submit the ballot initiative with the language that we have seen so far. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. So the motion can be to direct the district to submit it for the November 2025 election. The motion could be to direct the district not to submit the question for the November 2025 election. Once those motions are on the table, if there are language amendments, you can bring them at that time. So, with that, we are first looking at the ballot question related to the sale of the Dewey School. Do I have a motion?
So moved? I mean, yeah, I'll make that, do I need to read the whole thing? Shall the Concord School District authorize the Concord School Board to market and sell the former Dewey School property currently serving as Concord School District's central office located at 38 Liberty Street, Concord, New Hampshire, in such manner, whether by bid, auction, or broker listing, and on such terms, conditions, and price as it deems in the best interest of the district, with said sale subject to the district's compliance with the statutory right of first refusal provision pertaining to charter schools in RSA 194:61.
And would your motion include directing the district to submit for the November 2025 election?
Yes, it would.
Great. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Campbell. Discussion. I will say that I think that we have been talking about this for several months now. I think this is a question that we need to put to the voters, and I am in support of this motion. Does anybody else have any comments or discussion? Great. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Do you need a roll call?
I think we should.
Oh,
do
let's
that.
do a
Ballot
roll
initiative, I
call. Thank you for that. Go ahead, Ms. Boucher.
Ms. Campbell?
Yes.
Mr. Du Bois?
Yes.
Ms. Hastings?
Yes.
Ms. Higgins?
Yes.
Ms. Meeker?
Yep.
Ms. Minot?
Yes.
Ms. Sadowski?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. Motion passes.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you for the reminder on roll call. Next, we have the ballot question related to the sale of property of up to 59 acres on 11 Curtisville Road. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to put this
You
in
wanna
ballot.
Pull that
Oh.
microwave.
Make a motion for ballot initiative number 2. Shall the Concord School District authorize the Concord School Board to market and sell up to 59.08 acres of land located at 11 Curtisville Road, Concord, New Hampshire, in such a manner, whether by bid, auction, or broker listing, and on such terms, conditions, and price as it deems in the best interest of the district. And the motion is to put this on the upcoming ballot in November 2026.
Did I say 2025 before?
You did.
You guys. I'm getting tired. Okay, 2026. Note that in the minutes, please. Secretary,
You don't know
correct
what
me.
year we're in?
I don't know what year I'm in. So thank you for that. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Hastings. Discussion.
So
I'll just sigh.
Ms. Minot.
yeah, I'm not officially making a friendly amendment or proposing one, but in my mind, it would make sense to postpone this by a year, but still be very clear that we are intending to put it on the, I don't know if it makes sense to say, we're planning on postponing it, but it's gonna come back, or literally make an amendment to say the 2027 ballot, so that the community that feels very passionately about conserving this land has 1 year to come up with a concrete plan to bring forward to do that.
Ms. Higgins.
My concern is imposing something on a future board. I think we can't do it. This came up with kindergarten, and, well, let's put it off a year. Well, we couldn't put it off a year because we can't impose upon a future board something, we can't decide something, which is why we didn't do full day K and all of that. So I think, I understand, but I don't think that's doable.
And to add to what Barbara's saying, all we're doing is getting permission from the voters to pursue a sale. We don't have to act on it right away. Once we have that permission, the timeline is ours to determine. RFPs and everything of that nature. There, you will have over a year's time likely.
We had Eastman.
Hold on, Ms. Sadowski.
I completely agree with Madeline's point that we should postpone a vote on this until next year. We've heard a lot of public testimony that this would alleviate the confusion over the sale of multiple parcels. This would address the issue of public trust. It would give the community groups that are working for a plan around conservation to come up with alternatives that they can pursue. I agree that we are not in the business of holding property, and that it is already very clear to the public that we intend to solve this issue, but let's give them a year to do it.
Right, Ms. Hastings.
I guess I would just remind people that we put selling the Eastman property on the ballot last November. We haven't even got a broker yet. It's been a year. So by saying we're going to wait another year, we're really putting this out another 3 or 4 years. And would they be able to get that funding and then lose it because we took so long to get it on the ballot? I think what we're asking for here is, what do the voters want? We're not making any kind of sale. We're not listing it necessarily. We just want to know, what do the voters of Concord want us to do with that land after all of this? And we've had this discussion, so I don't know.
Ms. Minot and then Mr. Du Bois.
If we can't vote to put it on the ballot in 2027, then I would rather just put it on the ballot and see what happens. Because I don't want to just say, well, we're just not doing anything. I would rather
Right, let them vote against it.
say, yeah, and then because it is just the start of a process, and it is us honestly asking voters what they think.
What they think.
That's all.
Mr. Du Bois.
Regarding that, there was, when we had the public hearing, there were some valid concerns, given that the turnout in voting this November is expected to be higher than usual because it is a midterm year, and there are going to be citizens in the community who are not attuned to school board related issues, and they aren't going to be completely educated on what it is that they're voting on. And then the other question I had is just what would the difference be between voting no on this proposal this evening or voting for a postponement? Because if it's a no vote, wouldn't that also be saying that it could still be postponed?
Yeah, it's pretty much one and the same.
Well-
We can bring this question back at any.
But we have to redo the whole
Whole
process.
process, yeah. If a no vote means you go back through the public hearing process and the whole requirements upon putting something on the ballot.
And I think we had a lot of concerned constituents come and really voice their opposition to this being put on the ballot at all, at least until we're able to come up with a cohesive plan for finding a conservation agency that could be a credible buyer.
I don't think,
I know, go ahead, Ms. Minot.
I don't think that we need to do that.
No,
I-
like, that's not our job
Yeah.
to do that.
Community we.
Community has to do that. If they want to keep it, and they'll do it. So our job is just to ask, what do you want us to do with the land?
Any other discussion?
I think it's worth a year to preserve public trust in the process that folks came out to a public hearing and were heard.
I hear you. And I mean, I would agree. I think this is not so much of a logistics issue as a communication issue, which is that this is a very new aspect to our charter. We are trying to navigate it. We ourselves are learning what is the right timing, what is the right way to communicate. From my perspective, a lot of the public testimony demonstrated that there was a misunderstanding of what the process is. So I myself I think that we should ask the voters. At the same time, I think we have an opportunity to delay long enough for us to get our ducks in a row, to communicate it properly, and to work on that trust and bridge building with the community about what question we really are asking. So I will be a no vote on this question. Ms. Higgins?
And I share that sentiment as well, and I don't mind having to go back and having another public hearing. I think that opens up a whole new conversation that's a year in the future, which could have a lot more information that would be helpful to us.
And that being said, I did actually put a question to the district to ask legal. My assumption is that if we do vote yes and the voters say no, that we can bring the question back again. When it's not that this ends this discussion. We can bring it back, just like legislation, year over year. So just keeping that in mind, this isn't, if the voters say no, it's no forever. So I wanted affirmation. I don't know if, Jack, you had a chance to verify that with Dean, but
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Can I also just
Yeah,
make a
Ms. Boucher.
to go off of that? We could all, we could vote to yes to put it on the ballot. Voters could say yes, they would like to sell it, and we then don't have to sell it right away either.
Right, it's just
There's
permission.
no time, so it's just permission for how long that would be.
Yeah. Great. Any other discussion? This will be, Ms. Minot.
I'll say I do also think that we are getting a lot of irons in the fire, so it may make sense to focus on getting the Eastman School sold. And then if Dewey comes through, focusing on getting that one marketed and sold, and sort of completing things that we have started, rather than having too many irons in the fire. But I also agree that my understanding of this process is asking the voters what they think and getting permission to then do it at any time. So I see both sides of it.
I don't think the average voter would think that there was, like, if I were asked as an average citizen, what should we do? And then we didn't act on it, I think that would also damage public trust. And if we didn't act on it in a timely manner, I agree, Madeline, we have a lot of irons in the fire. I think we should focus on the sale of one property, the sale of the next property, and so on.
All right. Thank you very much for calling the question. It is a roll call vote. Go
Can I
ahead.
just read the motion again?
You may.
The motion was to direct the district to submit ballot initiative number 2 for November 2026 election. Is that correct? Roll call vote, Ms. Campbell,
I'll be a no.
Mr. Dubois,
No.
Ms. Hastings,
Yes.
Ms. Higgins,
No?
Ms. Meeker,
No.
Ms. Minot,
No.
Ms. Sadowski,
No.
and I am a no. Motion fails.
Fails. Thank you so much for that debate. I appreciate all of you. Moving on to something a lot more chill, the date of our September board meeting. We need to take a vote on the date, which, because we have a calendar that includes, I believe, 2 holidays, right, back to back, that we need to adjust the date of our
We
meeting.
end up with the Labor Day is August 31st, so that puts Tuesday. The first is what's on here recommended. The reason why we didn't go with the following Monday is because that's Labor Day, and then Tuesday the 8th is the voting day.
Right, Ms. Higgins.
So I'm wondering, so logistically speaking, the 8th doesn't work, and that would be the normal time. But the first is the first day of school. We have our filing period for school board Friday the 4th. So we had planned a board info night, like really looking at getting candidates and such. It's the first week of school, it's the first day of school for several board members with children. Can we not go Wednesday the 9th? Is there, I just think, when I think of letting us all get our feet into the school year, letting our student reps who will come get their feet into their first day, and having answers to lots of things that might come up in our September meeting, I hesitate to go a week early. I feel that puts a lot of pressure, and it becomes a meeting that is too early to answer certain questions that we might have.
That's fair.
So
I do want to, I feel like first day of school is actually the 31st.
Right, well.
But
right.
it's the first week.
It's the first
yeah.
week, and we had a board info night planned for that, and the filing period opens on Friday the 4th. I'm just thinking in the bigger picture, that it might, in my mind, it's better to do it a bit later than a week early. And that's just, my thoughts.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Let's make the motion first, and so that we can continue discussion. I move that we hold the September general meeting on September 1, 2026. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Boucher. Further discussion to Ms. Higgins' excellent points.
Why does the 8th not work? I thought it was scheduled for the 8th.
It's the 8th
Voting day.
is voting day, so
'Cause
there's
it's
no
primary
school. Yeah.
So the schools aren't.
Yeah.
It's not in session.
So we can, okay.
We don't usually have, when there's not, when
Got it.
it's not in session, we don't,
We share our holidays.
or like snow days or something.
So my thought was just to go.
Moving it to another day, though, because it's not what people are used to. They're used to
True,
the
a
first
Monday or a
Monday
Tuesday.
of their
Or a
month.
Tuesday if the
Yeah.
Monday doesn't work.
Right.
Yeah.
And so if we move it on a Wednesday, that's just way off what people are used to.
Although we have this weird situation with these two
Right.
holidays together, so it's
Right.
already wonky. So I think if we, I just think of the logistics of and the function of the board more, yeah. I mean, I'm easy, either way, I'm fine. But my thoughts were, let's get a week of school under our belt and get numbers and enrollments and all the things that.
It seems mean to do it on the first day of school, doesn't
Right.
it, the Monday?
Just for cruelty
It's the
alone.
second day
we
of
need-
school.
yeah.
but it's just.
Yeah.
I don't know. That was when I just
No.
looked at it. I go, oh my gosh, that's a very hectic week.
Well,
for-
let's put this question to our district staff. How do we
you prefer?
feel about a
Do you have
September
a
1st?
Preference.
Is it mean what we're doing?
I mean, me personally, it's not, I'm not a, Barb's point is really about parents and getting kids back to school and then being able to follow the work we're doing. She's got a very good point there. I would agree as a district staff, this sounds horrible, but it doesn't impact my day much. It's like, even if the kids were first day, second day, last day, day before graduation, if the meeting scheduled, we're here.
Agree. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, if staff are fine with it, if everyone's available, I would say let's just, it's gonna be a busy week, no matter what.
I just wanted to share.
No, I appreciate
I don't have
that.
a strong
Thinking.
opinion.
And then for just an efficiency perspective of the board, having the info night back to back with it, that's one night we're getting 2 meetings done.
Yeah, I do
If
like
we could do
that.
both, you mean? Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
Awesome. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We'll will meet Tuesday, September 1st. Great. Moving on, the implementation plan for the 306s. Do I have a motion to approve the 2026 counseling implementation plan as presented by the district?
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Higgins,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Du Bois. Any discussion? Ms.
My
Higgins.
discussion is mostly to thank the staff members involved in this horribly tedious and, pardon my opinion, unnecessary process imposed by the state. But we have staff members that absolutely spent hours and hours and then met our needs and questions and had to go back several times. So this last piece, it just felt so bad for me. So I just really want to thank all of you for, making it happen.
Yeah, they did a great job. I
Yeah,
can't take
truly.
any credit.
No.
Much
You
appreciated.
can smile and nod, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you'll be the conduit for appreciation to your staff. Thank you so much.
Should we just clarify the motion?
The motion is to approve the 2026 counseling implementation plan as presented by the district. Let me know when you're ready. All right. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All right, moving on to the strategic plan. Do
I would like to motion that the board endorse the school district's strategic plan through 2027 and support implementation.
Wonderful.
Second.
All right, made by Ms. Sadowski, seconded by Ms. Higgins. Is there discussion?
No, just thank you.
More thank yous.
Yeah, more thank yous. Incredibly thorough.
Right.
Much appreciation. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, moving on to policy 432. Please go ahead.
I'd like to motion that the school board vote to approve policy 432 and 537 regarding child abuse and neglect, and that the board adopt it. I just messed
Yeah,
up the
adopted on second reading. Good
And
job.
adopt on second reading.
Perfect. Seconded
Thank
by
you.
Ms. Higgins. Thank you very much. Any discussion? Ms. Minot?
So I brought up to you that I'm a little concerned about the amount of hoops that we make our volunteers jump through.
Yeah. Let's give everybody a page number real quick.
So,
Page 40.
Page 45, section 6, training required. We're requiring the same training of our volunteers as we are our teachers and staff.
Yeah, that's great.
Which I feel like that's two very different things. I appreciate that we want to keep our students safe, and it is primordially important. I also appreciate that busy parents might just want to chaperone a field trip, or pop some popcorn, or go to field day. And it's already really challenging to be approved as a volunteer. So I was just gonna bring up that concern that, having been involved in the PTO, I know how hard it is to get people to volunteer for our events, and it is very important to have, we rely on volunteers for a lot of things in our schools, so I just wanna make sure that we're not making it overly difficult for
So we get no
volunteers to be able to.
volunteers.
Right, and I'll provide additional context because this was designated volunteers before. This was amended by the district to be all volunteers. This was a purposeful choice by the district, so I just want to address that if we're going to discuss. And at the time of discussion, it was that, we're all mandatory reporters, and having a very brief educational video to describe how that process works is good for everyone. That's how it was presented by the district. Ms. Sadowski and then Ms. Hastings.
You took the words out of my mouth. Everyone needs to understand that in the state of New Hampshire, we are all mandatory reporters, so I want to make sure that that's reflected in our volunteer training.
The thoughts were it doesn't relieve us of liability, but at least we're getting out there in the front stating that this is expected. Therefore, if somebody volunteering fails to report and it's disclosed at some point in time, as a district, we took the precautions to make sure our volunteers were aware of this.
Ms. Hastings.
My question was, what caused the change in the policy to add all volunteers, which you've just explained, and how do we ensure that, do they have to watch a video before they can come on a field trip? How are we doing this?
There is a video that they are required to watch and sign off on that they watched and understood. It's actually KFA who's going through the reporting.
Okay.
So
Ms.
is
Boucher.
it like an online make a new login for to then certify through the system?
It's right on our website. It's under volunteers, volunteer video.
So I wouldn't have to watch the video. I could technically just sign the form.
Well, and then I wonder
Well,
who
then
tracks that
who's
they,
tracking that, yeah.
and it's not just they do it once, they do it every other year. It seems like a lot of admin work to track.
Yeah.
Ms. Gary.
I would like to think that our volunteers are not falsifying their signature on a form stating that they have, but they could.
Well, to Ms. Minot's point, I just think that that's added. I can see all sides of this. I'm not trying, but I definitely see all sides of this. But to try to get volunteers, we already have people who don't want to get their fingerprints. They don't. So it is really challenging to get volunteers.
We're already requiring the video. That's something that we're already doing.
And you
It's on
haven't
our
had any
website now.
problems?
Sorry?
No problems with that? We haven't had
No,
volunteers say I'm
anyone
not
who
doing
says
it?
that they haven't watched it, we pull out an iPad and they sit in a room and watch it for the 10, 15 minutes that it takes, and then they sign the form. We haven't had any pushback.
Great.
Oh, just another question. Now, it's different. When I became a registered volunteer, the fingerprints are done here in central office
At this time.
at this time.
At this time, yeah.
Which was to relieve people from having to make an appointment over at the state,
The Department of Safety.
the Department of Safety.
Yeah.
So we encourage it to come back in-house so that it would make it easier. I was just wondering, that would be a good time if they have to come in to do the fingerprints, that they also sit at the same time to watch it and complete it, which might relieve the
Many of
burden.
them do that.
Okay, otherwise I'm just thinking, if it's not gonna stay in-house and then they have to make an appointment, I mean, that was a burden to try to make an appointment for the fingerprints and then to watch the video.
And I think what we're discussing is something that comes up, it bubbles up quite a bit, which is how do we bring people in? How do we get them to become involved in our school community without putting up so many barriers to participation that they just opt out? For me, that my personal feeling about fingerprinting everyone, that feels onerous. The video doesn't feel particularly onerous. It feels like good information that any person interacting with children should have. So for this particular policy, I'm in support of inclusion. Any other? But at the same time, you are more than welcome to bring an amendment.
No, I'm good with it. I just wanted to bring that, in my experience, it is an ongoing concern that I hear a lot about, both from entities like the PTOs that are trying to recruit volunteers, some community members that would like to volunteer that, I just found out about this field trip and it's in 3 days and I'm working and I don't have time to go through this whole process, right? I would love to, but I can't. So I'm just bringing up a general concern. I understand why we do it, because it is very important to cover our liability and to make sure that anyone interacting with our students is vetted. There are also challenges.
Yep, 100%. And maybe that's something, strategic planning, next year, we talk about family engagement. We talk about all the facets of family engagement. And that very much includes volunteerism, because we all do it in our own lives, and we know how difficult it can be, to figure out what's going on. So, all right, any other discussion? With that, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. The policy is adopted. Are we done with votes, you guys?
We already did enrollment.
That's right. Other business. We already talked about enrollment. Do you want to touch on anything else related to enrollment?
I have one more quick question.
Yeah, please do.
Just so I understand, our homeless students, we finished the year with close to 150, and now we're down to
No.
3.
So
I would love it if
So,
all these families found homes, but
I would love
I just
that
want to
too.
understand the process. Do we sort of reset
set.
and then
You have to-
redetermine the
We have to
status?
reestablish the status to start the year. It's part of the process. Again, it's one of those things why August is just that kind of a month. But yeah, we are not that fortunate that we're going to be low in numbers.
Yeah, that's what I suspected. I just wanted to clarify that for everyone that.
Goes for the
ELL
students
too.
as well.
Right,
Because
and
I'm
so.
sure you notice that's a low number.
Right, and so we're all gonna check
to
in with our
re-sign up,
families, update their status.
Wonderful. Bye, thanks for coming.
Nice to meet you.
All right, so anything else related to enrollment? If not, let's head over to proposed calendar. Meetings are back on the menu. All right. We are having our Board of Education meeting right now. Admin retreat. We noted the cancellation of the Sustainability Committee. It's not even on the calendar, so they,
It was on the previous calendar we looked at the
executive.
executive
Great.
and at the retreat.
Oh, okay, wonderful, thank you. Finance and instructional on the 12th, Executive Committee and City and Community on the 17th, Communication and Policy on the 19th. We've got a bunch of fun things on the 25th, back to school night. On the 26th, we have new teacher orientation. We've got some professional days and an opening day ceremony on the 28th, and then we are back to school on the 31st. Chris is saying, no way, Jose.
New teacher orientation's the 19th, not the 26th.
Oh, thank you for that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that's like,
A little late, cutting it a little close, thank you.
I have a question.
Yes,
too.
please.
Is a half hour going to be enough for finance and 12th, knowing what's coming our way with the legislation? I can't say legislation.
The reality is there are some things that are going to require immediate action, which is how we display information for voters and things of that nature. The other big ticket items, we are waiting for technical guidance from the Department of Revenue Administrations. So until we really have that, we can share with you, but it's not going to be a lot of action for us to take just yet.
I know. Okay, perfect. I'm good with that.
Anything to add?
That's it. No. We'll be quick.
Mr. Du Bois.
Yes, I noticed instructional is on Wednesday this month. Don't we usually do them on Monday evenings?
these
Let's
vary.
ask the chair.
We've gone back and
Yeah,
forth
yeah.
between Mondays and Wednesdays. Are Wednesdays not good for you?
Either one is fine, but I know that to Jess's point there, if there's back-to-back on that Wednesday, that Monday is empty.
Right.
Yeah, that-
Well, I think
that
we were
Monday.
weren't we trying to
Trying to
consolidate
consol-
meetings
yes.
so
A
that
lot
we
of
have
finance is also
fewer
on
meetings?
instructional.
Fewer days with
Yeah.
meetings?
Right. Are you okay with keeping it?
Yeah.
Okay,
We could
wonderful.
If we needed to start instructional late, we could do that too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those adjustments can
I'll
be
be
made
here
easy.
for both.
Right, yeah.
We can.
Awesome. All right, so then first day of school, August 31st, we have our Board of Education meeting on the 1st, but preceding that at 5 p.m. is our Board of Education Information Night. Does anybody not know what that is? It is an evening where prospective candidates for school board can come and talk to current board members about what it means to be a board member if they're interested in filing. Not all board members are required to be there, but it is fun, and I encourage anybody who wants to interact with the community to attend. I would say there's usually like 4 or 5 of us that roll up and chat with people. And then we've got Capitol Facilities on the 2nd. That filing window for school board opens on Friday the 4th, Labor Day on the 7th, and no school on the 8th. Then we're back to instructional committee on Mondays at 5:30 on the 14th. And that is also when the filing deadline closes for school board. We've got communication and policy on the 16th. We have the Multicultural Festival at Keach Park. Are we tabling or doing anything? Or that's just an FYI?
I put it
On-
on as an FYI.
It's just an FYI. Thank you. Appreciate
Talk
you.
about
Put
it.
that on
Yeah,
our
city and
agenda.
community,
Yeah.
Talk about that.
Okay.
City and community.
Great. And then executive and finance on the 21st, city and community relations on the 23rd.
And then it's October.
And then it's October.
Oh my goodness.
I know.
I'll just add the joint city school board Memorial Field
Yes.
Committee is TBD, but
Oh,
we're
yeah.
targeting
End of September.
either the 25, 26, 27 are the
Oh,
dates
great.
that have been floated, so stay tuned.
Wonderful.
Of August.
August.
And I invited Steve and Dave to come to I didn't copy everybody, I just reached out as chair, to come to city and community.
Wait. Right. If you do have the meeting on the 25th, it means you just can't come to back
Yeah.
to school night.
I said that was not a good day for us because it was back to school night, but
Okay.
they floated that as a possibility.
Okay. Well, hopefully you'll land on a different one. Sorry, Ms. Boucher, what
Hopefully
were
it'll
you
be
saying?
Thursday.
That's what I said. Thursday would be best.
When are you doing
How
that?
come that's not on the calendar? Sorry, we're mumbling. We are supposed to also be setting a date for the superintendent's review, but it's not on the calendar, so I'm not sure if we set that date or not. That's a Pam That's a Pam question, and Pam's off the grid having fun. So I will check in with her on that, and we'll make sure everybody is informed of that date, if it is in fact. Did you say it was the 26th?
I thought it was that.
Did we land on that?
I thought, I don't have my notes from here.
We'll find out, and we'll let everybody know. Great. Are there any other questions about the calendar? Wonderful. Do we have a non-public?
No.
Oh my gosh, you
It's a non-public.
guys, we're gonna be out of here before 8 o'clock. With that, I will take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Higgins.
Sarah.
Seconded by Ms. Sadowski. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? We are done at 7:35, adjourned.
Very nice.